Hey guys, it's Kevin and welcome back to another episode of the Hopcast. Today is not a beer review, but a different kind of a top 10 video, if you will. And of course, it's very fitting because I've got an IPA and we're going to talk about stouts. Stouts are my number one favorite style of beer. Imperial stouts specifically. There's nothing better than being curled up on like a nice cold night in front of the fire and you have a nice bourbon barrel-aged stout with tasty adjuncts. And you're sipping from it, sitting in front of the fire, and everything is good. So today I wanted to take the time to discuss my top 10 favorite, or I guess you could call it the 10 best, stout breweries in America. And this is in no particular order at all, but these are just the 10 that I feel are doing the best job currently in the stout game. And without further ado, let's get to the list. So the first brewery on my list is actually, I would say, out of the entire list, maybe the first brewery I ever had a beer from. A stout, at least. And that is PRAIRIE Artisan Ales out of Oklahoma. This brewery has been around for a while. And ever since I had BOURBON, their flagship beer, I was blown away. I mean, the way that the chilies just kind of sparked the tongue a little bit, and the complexity of all of the other flavors in that beer, it was unlike any kind of stout I've ever had. And at the time, I'm like, this is my favorite beer. This is like the best beer I've ever had. And since then, they've made a wide array of beers that I absolutely love. And I love how thick their stouts are. That's probably my favorite part. They have knockout beers like Bourbon Paradise. They have, what's the Vanilla Noir. They have Pirate Paradise, not the 2019 version. I've heard bad things about it. I haven't actually reviewed it yet, but, and that's a rum barrel aged beer. Very hard to pull off. What else do they have? The Prairie Dog series that, they came out with in 2018, 2019, basically where they get a whole bunch of member barrels and it produces like 200 or so bottles per barrel. They basically bourbon barrel aged, apple brandy barrel aged, rum barrel aged, a whole bunch of different stouts with different adjuncts. And some of those are really good. Liquid Assets, Gandalf's Wizard Sleeve, to name a few that are absolutely wonderful. But PRAIRIE has been killing it. They've kind of fallen a little bit as of late, but I still expect to see big things from them. Next up on the diabetes end of things, we have Angry Chair. Now, Angry Chair has only been around for a couple of years, but the beers that they make are primarily stouts and barley wines, and sweet stouts at that. They have a couple that come to mind. Their Imperial German Chocolate Cupcake Stout, their French Toast, Dave's Barley Wine, their Rocky Road, Double Barrel Rocky Road that just came out this year. I've heard is a fantastic beer, but if you don't like overly sweet stouts, you won't like Angry Chair, more than likely, but I absolutely love their beers. I think their stouts are world class, and they really do taste like the adjuncts that are in them. So delicious stuff. Next up on the list is a brewery that I've just gotten introduced to as of late, and that is ASLIN, their Barrel Project stouts. Well, I guess Barrel Project stouts, they have barley wines and stuff as well, but in the stout game, their grain bill and their water profile, the mixture of the two in that Virginia area it makes for a really unique flavor of stout. I can't really describe it unless you've had one and you'll know what I'm talking about. A couple that come to mind that are notable: Harrisonburg, Pittsburgh. Those two beers are phenomenal. That like marshmallowy, s'more type of beer that's a bourbon barrel aged into perfection. They're a little on the heavier side of the alcohol content, 16-ish%, but their beers are just phenomenal, and I haven't had a bad one yet. I have San Diego and Honolulu as well in the cellar, so maybe I'll bust those open soon. Bottle Logic is a brewery out of Anaheim, California, and they have been in the game since 2013. Probably what most people know them for are their stouts, and primarily I would say their fundamental observation. When that beer first came out in 2015, the first year they actually bottled it, it blew people away. At the time, 2015 timeframe, there wasn't really a lot of adjuncts in barrel-aged stouts at the time. And the vanilla just mixed so well with the bourbon that people were going nuts for this beer. And 2016, 2017, bottles were absolutely amazing. They're consistently ranked in the top stouts ever. And, you know, as the years go on, people appreciate them less and less because they can get really high quality stuff in other places. But those beers really are absolutely phenomenal. They also have their fundamental theorem, fundamental forces, fundamental summation, one of my favorite beers ever that I just recently had. They also have a lot of other types of barrel-aged stouts. They have their, what is that called? Jam the Radar or Prairie Cave Complex if you're looking for fruit to add to your beer. They also have Leche Borracho, which is like a Mexican hot chocolate stout. They have a Leche Reserva, which is a tequila barrel-aged Mexican hot chocolate stout. They have tons of others. Most recently, I had a Hypermash Hydra, which is a beer that came out from them, and that, I'm telling you guys, that beer was absolutely amazing. Super thick mash beer, and Bottle Logic almost never disappoints. One of the big kahunas on the list is that of Toppling Goliath. Now, they're often known for their stouts being hard to come by. Some of the more exclusive ones like SR71, Assassin, and then KBBS, which is one of the beers I had on my beer bucket list video a little while back. Beers that I really, really, really want to try, but I just don't have the wallet, or, you know, I don't have anybody that I know that could get them for me. So I haven't tried a lot of their stouts, but what I have had from them is very, very good. Thick, syrupy stouts, sludgy, if you will. That doesn't really sound like an appetizing word, but I'm telling you it is. J. Wakefield out of Miami, Florida. I'm telling you, this place does some amazing stouts. They make probably, I would say, in my top four, top three favorite stouts ever. It was all a dream. That is their Big Papa series. It's a bourbon barrel-aged stout with coconut, Tahitian vanilla, and Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, sorry. And that beer is just freaking phenomenal. They have their Bake Kujira series, which I was lucky to have a taste of once. I've heard people say that Jay Wakefield kind of hypes his beers up too much. He's kind of full of himself, but I'll tell you what, when you have got a resume of the quality of Jay Wakefield, it's good stuff. And, you know, one of these days I would love to head down there and make it to Wakefest, but it's just so far away for me right now. Another classic in the barrel-aged stout arena. You can't talk about barrel-aged stouts and not talk about Goose Island. Their Bourbon County series has been around since, I think, you know, the mid to late 2000s. So well over 10 years now we've been experiencing Bourbon County and all its greatness. And they have just released some real gems in the Bourbon County lineup. And they do them every year. They always do the original Bourbon County, and then they'll do like a barley wine, a coffee barley wine, a coffee stout. This past year they did Mon Chéri. It was like a kind of a fruity, chocolatey stout. They did a Cafe Ola, which is more of a cappuccino roasted stout. And their proprietor series that they do every year, always so good. Except for 2016, I didn't really care for that one, but this past year was phenomenal with the coconut, the pecans, the chocolate, delicious stuff. And I finally got myself a bottle of vanilla rye, and I plan on opening it on a special occasion. So I'm excited about that. Next up is Moore Brewing Company. So this is one that's out of Chicago area. And one of the stouts that they brew is Henna. And people go wild for this beer. They've done Henna Rainbow, Henna Karma. Mendy is another fantastic beer that they make, and they're rather new brewery, but super hyped, and for good reason. It's a really good beer. The last brewery on my list is probably my favorite, only because they have my favorite beer of all time, and that is Side Project. One of the best breweries in the world, without a question. These guys just make fantastic beer. Beer Barrel Time from 2017 through 2019. is just the cat's meow. You can't get a better beer than that. Cuvée, no adjuncts. This is the real McCoy. Absolutely wonderful stuff. And also they have OWK, which was on my list, my beer bucket list actually, that I haven't had a chance to get. So my wife's trying to make fun of me over there in the corner while I'm filming this video. So other beers that they have their derivation blends, which I've always wanted to try. And, well, I've had some of them, not all of them. Maybe one day I'll be able to get them all. Anyway, thank you for watching my top 10 stout breweries in America video. If you have opinions of what your favorite stout breweries are, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys like, maybe Three Floyds, maybe Microphone, you know, whatever that brewery is. I'd love to hear about it. But that'll do it for me today, guys. I will catch you later.